Hello and welcome to this Infinite Runner Engine tutorial. I'm Renaud and today I'm going to talk to you about the contents of the asset, the Infinite Runner Engine. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to create a new project and show you what happens when you import it. So test tutorial or something like that. You can leave the rest as it is. Alright. So here we have our new blank project. Alright, so now what you can do is go into Window Asset Store, and if you go to Complete Project, it's usually on the first page right here, or you can look for it in the search here, and then all you have to do is click on Import and wait until it's imported. So here you'll need to click import. Alright, I just accelerated time because it took a few minutes. So this is what you should have. You should have a common folder, a demos folder, tools, post-processing, and a readme that I suggest you read because it contains links to the list of features, the documentation, the YouTube tutorials. Obviously you've found these already, and a bunch of other stuff, so really a good place to start. Let's get started and have a look at the common folders. In the common folders you'll find an animation folder, physics material, prefabs, resources, scenes, scripts, which is really the core of the engine. As the name implies, everything that is in the common folder is common to all the demos, and it will be the basis of your game if you use the engine, so I suggest you keep it as it is. Then moving on, we have the demos folder. So this one contains a bunch of demos that showcase what you can do with the asset. You can safely remove this folder if you don't want to use any of the demos. Once you've tested them, you think you don't like them or whatever, you can get rid of it, no problem. They are really sandboxed, so deleting them won't do anything. So the first demo is called Backwards Dragon. You play some sort of knight on top of a dragon flying backwards, and you have to avoid these electric sharks, and if you don't, you explode like that. As you can see, the engine also includes achievements. You can store them, and this will create, once you store them, it will create a new folder here called data. This will happen when you save your achievements or when you exit Unity and come back. Moving on, we have a Flappy Cloud demo, which as the name strongly gives away, is some sort of Flappy Bird clone, where you play a cloud that has to avoid some sort of giant penguins, I guess. As for all or most of the demos, you'll find some folders called animations, materials, prefab, scripts that will contain really the specifics for that demo. Again, you can really move any or all the demos if you want. Moving on, we have the Flight of the Albatross demo, which is my favorite. One of the most recent one, where you play an albatross that's flying over an ocean and has to avoid rocks, rock formations, and fly as far as possible. It's really relaxing, and it works well on mobile too. I could play that for hours. Then we have the Jelly Forest demo, which is one of the first I created with this system. It's really a one-tap game where you play a jelly thing and you have to avoid bits in a forest that goes faster and faster and faster. So it's eventually you'll die. That's the concept. We also have the Lane Runner demo. It's a 3D demo that you play this guy running on one of 5 lanes, and you can switch from one to the other. There are obstacles coming your way, you have to avoid them or you die. Then we have the minimal ones. So the minimal are really the most simple scenes that you can create. This one, as you can see, is just a simple 2D platformer thing. One of the new things in the latest version is that you have proportional jump, so the longer you press the button, the higher you jump. So that's really all there is to it. Same thing in 3D. 2D and 3D share the same classes, so it's really a nice framework if you want to prototype, maybe starting in 2D and then you move to 3D. This one is really cool too. We have the same as the first one, the minimal one, but with 3 characters, so they jump in sync, or you could, you know, have some delay, and you can lose one or the other. As long as you have one, you don't die, and then if you fall, you lose a life and you're dead. There's also the minimal 2D one-way platform. It's just to demonstrate, because someone asked recently how to have one-way platform. So as you can see now, I can jump from underneath the platform on top of the platform. Apart from that, it's really the same game. And then there's the sandbox demo scene. This one is really interesting. I'll go over it in details when we have a look at spawners in a future tutorial. But really, that's where the magic happens. That's where all the core features, of course it doesn't work in the game view, but all the core features of the engine are demonstrated, and that's really interesting. Then we have the Sky Theory one. This one was actually a game released on iOS as a free demo of the engine. It's a complete game where you play a spaceship that goes into various environments, and you have chunks of levels that are spawned, and you grab coins, and eventually you die, because that's what happens. And finally we have the vertical one, which is a new demo level introduced in version 1.4 of the engine. I'm really bad at my own games, but in this one you play some sort of fireball guy. I have no idea what I draw most of the time, and you have to jump on top of platforms. It's meant to be played at vertical iPhone resolution, so I guess it's 640 by 1130 or something. It's written somewhere in the scene view. And what makes it special is that well, it's the first vertical example, and it's something that's been requested quite a few times now. And it also has this mechanism where using the scenario manager you get different platforms at different time using one single spawner, so it's really cool. If we go back to our root level, that's it for the demos. We have the MM Tools folder. MM Tools are short for More Mountain Tools. They're a collection of helper scripts used in all of my sets. Some of this script may not be used in this one, but it's safer to just keep the folder as it is. It's a lot of the core scripts, like the spawners and so on, will make use of some of the helpers that are here. Don't worry about the new scripts. They won't, you know, add weight to your build, to your APK or whatever. They're just ignored during compilation. And finally we have the post-processing folder. So this is just Unity's post-processing effects. It's not something I created. It just makes the levels look nice. You can of course update that independently if Unity releases a new version. They're used, so if you're not familiar with that, they're used for camera effects, so maybe fog, blur, depth of field, stuff like that. You can also remove that folder if you don't want to use that, or if you want to use another package. It may trigger a few warnings here and there, so you may have to remove the corresponding components from the cameras. So if you've never used that, it's you just select the main camera. It's usually only on that one, and here you'll have a post-processing behavior. You just have to remove the component like that, and you're good to go. And if you're interested in using that, they have a GitHub setup where they explain everything and how it works, but it's really simple. You add this post-processing behavior component and you select your profile here, or you set up one, and then you have access to all these nice effects, like you can add bloom and chromatic aberration and stuff. It's really fun. Alright, that concludes that showcase of everything that's in the Infinite Runner Engine asset. I'll see you next time for another tutorial. Bye.